Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Has anyone tried to shop and configure a car online recently? Perhaps, like millions of customers, you may have hit a wall when trying to get that exact vehicle that you actually wanted. How Toyota is enhancing the customer experience around this is exactly what we'll be talking about today. I'm Phil Ryan. I'm one of the IT executives at Toyota, responsible for delivering our supply chain transformation. And I'm joined with Chris Jangaretti,
Hello.
Manager Director at Deloitte Consulting, who is one of our strategic partners in our supply chain transformation journey. Think about your last experience on Amazon, from shopping to buying and delivery. What I particularly like about it, it's a smooth, transparent, and predictable experience. Fundamentally, what customers really are always looking for are three things: choice, or choices, I should say, value, transparency, and dependable fulfillment. In terms of choice, Amazon offers more than 50 million items in their marketplace. Everything from A to Z, so they say. They offer shopping tools that allow you to compare those options and narrow down to your final selection. And then who doesn't love Amazon Prime? Dependable two-day delivery. Now let's take a look at Toyota. In terms of choice, we believe we have one of the most best lineups in the industry. We have thousands of configurations across our Toyota and Lexus brand to suit a wide and varied needs of all of our different customers. And our configuration tools are pretty good. They'll let you configure the vehicles and see exactly what you got, and also look at your financing options. However, when it comes down to comparing and fulfilling, this is where we had an opportunity, let's say, to move the bar closer to that Amazon-like experience. Because when the car a customer is looking for comes down and it's not available, our website, it directs them to the dealer. And when they go to the dealer, what a lot of people don't realize is that the dealer can't really see a full line of inventory. They only have very limited visibility into this. And they generally only know what's on their lot and what's coming in about the next 30 days or so. So this was leading to compromises into what the customer configured and wanted. And then even worse, in some cases, it leads to that customer walking away from our brand and going to purchase something from a competitor. Before I get into the details about what we're doing with the transformation, here's a fascinating page within our journey. During one of the most challenging periods in recent automotive history, through the pandemic, shutdowns, supply chain disruptions, chip shortages, Toyota was able to sustain our 15% market share and even increase it a little bit. We were able to exercise a level of resilience that many of our rivals couldn't. How? This wasn't luck. This success was partially attributed to early adoption of some of our ML capabilities that boosted our supply chain agility, the same capabilities that I'm about to share with you today, but now significantly enhanced. Let's dive into how we're enhancing the experience towards allowing you to get your dream car. To bring this to life, I live in Texas. And in Texas, trucks are super popular. In fact, they're so popular, generally a base configuration truck won't do. That's just too ordinary. So a customer might choose, let's say, a Tundra, a TRD Pro. Let's say in gray, magnetic gray, with a hybrid I-Force powertrain and accessorize it with a camping kit. And as I described earlier, this previously might have led into a digital dead end. But here's how we're changing that. Number one, we're putting more focus on attainable inventory. Okay? Second, we're expanding the pipeline visibility of that inventory beyond the dealer's physical inventory on the lot. Basically, we've created a vehicle virtual line pipeline that allows us to present not only just built physical vehicles, but also unbuilt vehicles that are planned for production. 3, we've started to enrich our dealer tools and online customer tools with ML-based recommendations, which present close alternatives to the dream vehicle that they configured, basically highlighting those specific differences. Okay. And additionally, in addition to presenting those extra virtual vehicles, we can actually take a virtual derivative of a planned vehicle and present additional options on that seed vehicle. And if the customer chooses one of those derivatives, our production plan across the supply chain actually automatically updates in real time. So very advanced to be able to do that. And then lastly, we've enhanced those views with highly accurate ETA predictions. So let's say that magnetic gray vehicle that the customer configured has a 6-week lead time. But instead, we present them with a midnight black Tundra TRD Pro that has the exact same configuration and is available in 3 weeks. Now we've provided the customer and the dealer with a much greater opportunity to get the car that they really wanted. There's choices. You can evaluate that for yourself. Now let's look behind the scenes. This is not just a customer experience transformation. It's a workforce and an employee experience transformation as well. Behind the capabilities, behind the capabilities of what I refer to is a digital backbone, and Chris is going to explain a little bit more about that in a few moments. But we're moving away from the days of complex Excel workbooks and tribal knowledge to run our business. For example, our product planning teams are being equipped with ML-based forecasting tools, which can predict consumer preferences with really good accuracy. Okay? It's like having a crystal ball to build the right vehicles with the specific features and options that will be placed and popular in the regions before our customers even ask for them. And what's particularly exciting about this is these tools are strengthening the resiliency of our value chain, allowing us to produce multiple scenarios to allocate the resources when the supply chain disruptions hit. And we all know supply chain disruptions will hit. And our AI tools will help us run those right scenarios that help us to make the best decisions. Along with delivering these experiences for our customers and our workforce, it's also about modernizing our technology foundation. Okay? We're methodically modernizing legacy systems. Some of these systems have been around for over 50 years, so those of you that are in IT can imagine the benefits and savings from something like that. But more importantly, elimination of waste, or we say in Toyota, muda, is one of those core principles of the Toyota production system. And adapting these new technologies such as Gen AI and GraphDB is helping us to make faster and more precise data-driven decisions that are going to allow us to continuously innovate and hopefully remain the best in the industry. I'm going to now hand it over to Chris, and he's going to talk a little bit more about how everything works together on our digital platform. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Phil. How do we get to the next slide?
Oh, just push one time.
Okay.
Yep.
So like Phil mentioned, the data-driven, ML/AI-driven supply chain transformation is transforming the way Toyota is selling cars to the customers, improving the customer experience, dealer and partner experiences, and not to forget the team member experience as well. So today, what I'm going to try to take a stab at is we simplified how everything works. Phil talked about the functionality. I'm going to bring everything to perspective and showcase how ML and AI is enabling these functionalities, right? So if you look at the slide, think about all the products that you see on the left-hand side are demand forecasting related products. On the right are demand fulfillment, and in the center you have supply constraints and demand to supply matching engines as well. So as you can tell, the transformation is led via at least a couple of dozen products. All of these are data products. But I'm only going to talk about a handful which make a use case over here, right? So when you look at a customer, I mean, imagine a scenario where a customer goes to a .com portal, be it a Toyota.com or Lexus.com, and when he logs in, the system already knows, or when he tries to create a profile, the portal already knows who the customer is, and it tries to give a recommendation on what he or she would be interested in, number one, right? If the customer likes that configuration, he can pick that as a base configuration and make changes and to suit his needs. And the engines in the back would then look up through the entire pipeline to see if there's a match available. What if the recommendation is not something to the likes of the customer? Then the customer goes and configures a car. He has two choices. One, he can go to a dealership or he can go to a portal. When he goes on either ways, if he goes to a portal, configures a car, the system in the back end, it's called an intelligent fulfillment engine, which takes the configuration and matches it to available inventory and the virtual pipeline that Phil mentioned about, where these are VINs or vehicle identification numbers or cars that are yet to be manufactured. So now the customer has a choice on what configuration to pick. And the intelligent engine gives information about the percentage match to his configuration, the ETA, when is that configuration going to be available, the price, leasing information, and a couple of other stuff that would help the customer close the deal, right? So if he does not like any of those, there are other options that the intelligent engine would provide, which is close to what customer wants, but may not be available immediately. So what the intelligent engine is doing in the back end is matching the configurations to existing configurations or creating permutations and configurations of configurations that can be manufactured, right? So dealers, if the customer goes to a dealer has similar view where the dealer has options to get a configuration that's close to what customer wants. Behind the scenes, there's multiple machine learning recommendation engines and optimization engines running. So the next step, I'm going from left to right. The next step is once the system captures what kind of cars that the customer is interested in, those signals are fed into the order recommendation engine. These are demand signals. So order recommendation engine, you're now shifting from the customers and dealers to the team members. So team members have options for, okay, what is that make model series that a region/dealer should be selling, and by how many amount, by what quantity. So that's what the order recommendation engine does. It takes in demand signals and creates unconstrained demand forecasts and sends it to another engine, which is an scheduling optimization engine. So what you see in the middle is a connection to the supplier network. This is supplier collaboration, where you have a view into tier 1, 2, 3 of customers, of the suppliers who provide parts. So tier 2 provides parts to tier 1, and tier 1 provides parts to the OEM, which is Toyota and Lexus. So what this allows us to do is it gives you visibility onto the availability of inventory, or it also gives you signals on disruption in any of the parts in the network. So you get these constraints or disruption information from the intelligent supply engine, and that feeds into the constraints repository. the role of constraints repository is it's a central location for collecting all supplier constraints, scheduling constraints, and production constraints. So that constraints repository then sends the constraints information to the scheduling optimization engine, where you would match the demand that you're getting from the order recommendation engine to the constraints that you're getting from the constraints repository. And the engine has multiple machine learning and optimization models running in the back end to give you a mix of vehicles that need to be manufactured, keeping in mind we are delivering on time and full for the customer, right? That information goes to manufacturing plants. Manufacturing plants produce those cars, and then the logistics takes care of distributing those cars to the dealers and then the customers, right? These are all the products that you see on the box that says digital data thread are business value products. But the line that you see digital thread, this is where Toyota has created an overarching real-time transactional, event-driven transactional layer that runs on multiple AWS. All of these are AWS technologies. The data layer runs on multiple NoSQL databases, and it leverages GenAI as well. Not to mention GenAI is in most of the other products as well. So what the digital data thread does is it connects the different lines of business within the supply chain to provide that seamless connectivity from all the way from demand forecasting to demand fulfillment, right? And everything that goes in between. Previously, this was not available because now the data was sitting in silos in multiple different databases. Now this digital data thread provides the seamless connectivity, single pane of glass for all data domains within the supply chain. What this also does, it helps to create an overarching layer that disconnects the underlying legacy systems with the new capabilities that are being developed above the digital thread line. So that gives you the flexibility of modernizing your underlying legacy systems to modern stacks, right? So the new product and the transformation is transparent to the underlying tech debt reductions. Sorry. Next slide. That's why. So this is what Toyota calls supply chain symphony. Okay. With this, the impact of this transformation journey is not whatever I just talked about is happening now, and Toyota is able to help customers find the right car at the right place at the right time for the right price. Number one, it improved its sales margins, right? And all those go back into the R&D, right? There is higher resiliency to disruptions in the supply chain, and we are seeing more happy customers. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Phil or myself, Chris Giangaretti, Managing Director with the AI and Engineering practice at Deloitte.